It's great being here again in Italy to be able to present one of the products that we've been working on for quite a few years now. For those of you who don't know me or recognize me, my name is Ed Chung. I'm the VP of Products at Liferay, and I'm excited to be here today to talk to you about how you can optimize your customer journeys using data-driven insights with Liferay Analytics Cloud. So just to start with a show of hands, can I see how many people actually know about Liferay Analytics Cloud? Okay, not many. Okay, so that's okay. I'm going to go ahead and start with a recap. So what is Liferay Analytics Cloud? So this was a product that we launched last year in September of 2018. And what Liferay Analytics Cloud is it's a cloud-based SaaS offering that works with Liferay digital experience platform, Liferay DXP. And what it provides is it gives you insights into customer attributes and behavior. It aggregates your data from multiple sources and presents analytics, making it easier to understand people and their interests. The centralized contact data and analytics helps you communicate intelligently with people and create relevant and engaging experiences for your customers. So, in a nutshell, it helps you understand people, how they're interacting with your sites, and the paths and channels that draw them to your sites. So in September of 2018, that's what we launched with as far as what the product was. Okay, since a lot of you aren't familiar with Liferay Analytics Cloud, this was something that I think Rafa presented last year at last year's symposium. I'll go ahead and do a brief recap of all the key concepts and ideas behind Liferay Analytics Cloud, and from there, then take you on the journey of where we've evolved from there. Okay, so some of the key concepts you need to know to understand Liferay Analytics Cloud is who are the people and what are the interactions they're taking. So the people that we're tracking here are individuals, and they're existing or prospective customers that interact with your company in person, on your websites, via your mobile apps, etc. And accounts are groups of individuals that belong to one organization. User segments are groups of individuals with common characteristics. And the way you can create segments in Liferay, you can create them dynamically by creating rules based on criteria such as like what industry are they part of, what is their location. You can create segments manually, hand select the individuals that you want part of a segment. And what this allows you to do is the industry segment analytics shows industries engaging with you and identifies your content that interests them. So those are the people that that are relevant. And on the interaction side, we have pages. And pages are simply the locations on your sites where people interact with your content. And some of the things that we measure on a page are visits, the length of the session, the number of sessions over time, the time they spent on that page, and the bounce rate. And what is on those pages? What's on those pages are assets or content. And Liferay natively tracks the specific content on the page. And we support the following assets: blogs, documents, forms, or pages. So for forms in particular, the things that we're tracking are it shows the number of views, the number of submissions of that form, the percentage of users who are abandoning that form once they get there, which field in the form they're abandoning, and the form's average completion time. So we give you a really good idea of the engagement of those forms on your site. Okay, so digging in a little deeper with the people and the analytics that we provide. Analytics Cloud integrates all the contacts that you have from multiple sources, whether they're from DXP sites, into a single view. It helps you create and merge contact data into rich profiles of individuals, who your unique contacts are. And you can name the contact fields your way, and making them most useful for you and your company. And on the activity data side, we're measuring and analyzing the individual interest and activity history of people. Okay, on the interaction side, we have three key things that we're tracking. First thing being asset reports, and this helps you measure your content's performance on your sites. You can identify the content that gets the most activity, and hopefully that will help you identify what types of content that you need to create more of so that you can grow your business. And it also helps you identify underperforming content or content that maybe keeps people from engaging with it. So you can make the decision to either fix or improve the content so you can get your customers and prospects better engaged, or decide to remove content that's no longer relevant from your site. Okay? We also provide page and path reports, and this helps you determine what are the best advertising channels. How are your customers discovering your site pages? Where are they coming from? So, one great use case for this is if you have some type of advertising campaign where you're trying to drive traffic to a landing page that you've created. Well, now you'll be able to see what channels are effective and which aren't, and then be able to better do your ad spends and reward those channels that are performing and reassign and allocate the resourcing and money to those from the channels that aren't performing to those that are. Finally, we have topic and engagement that we track. You can learn about people's interest. Once you know the topics that interest people, you can engage them with those topics. You can produce relevant content that highlights how your product and services relate to those topics. And these things will help you generate new business and improve your customer relationships. So if I'm just to summarize what Analytics Cloud was and what we provided when we launched back in September of 2018, it would be, we provided some customer profile analytics, some page analytics, the traffic and path analytics, how they got there, and the asset analytics, how the content is actually performing on any of those locations. So where do we go from here? How do we evolve? How do we, Liferay, help you or help provide continual benefit and value to you? So I'm sure many of you have seen a diagram like this one before. Jorge had a very simple version of it when he talked about 7.2 and what our goals were, to be able to create great experiences, personalize them, and then optimize and measure them. And the companies that are leading the digital age right now, they're good at providing exceptional customer experiences and are able to quickly build them and learn from how their customers respond to those experiences and continually improve and evolve those experiences over time. So when we split kind of this chart up, what does Liferay Digital Experience Platform provide for you? It allows you to rapidly build those experiences, manage them, deliver them. You've heard about our decoupled CMS. Deliver them on your own front ends or on front ends that we provide for you. And then on the Analytics Cloud side, where we go after those experiences are created is we really want these capabilities between DXP and Analytics Cloud working closely together. So once those experiences are built, managed, and delivered, Analytics Cloud will help you measure the performance so you can learn from those interactions and over time, optimize them. So if we launched in September of 2018, what we wanted to do once we launched was, because we have now a SaaS-based product that we can update and provide more value to our customers continually without having to wait for annual release cycles with upgrades with on-prem on the DXP side, we decided let's provide quarterly releases of Analytics Cloud and really drive home this value of being able to optimize your experiences. So earlier this year, March of 2019, the theme for that release from the September release was to really increase the potential of your customer data. We released a set of features around this theme so that you could be able to have a better understanding of your users, better support for accounts, and then be able to track some of the custom things that you've built. So one of the things we provided with our March 2019 release was out-of-the-box integration with Salesforce. So Liferay Analytics Cloud provides the ability to drive data from Salesforce, specifically accounts, leads, and contact objects, into Liferay Analytics Cloud. So with this, you're able to blend the customer information from Salesforce with the user behavior tracked on your websites to create a more complete profile of who your users are, what they're interested in, and who, the things that that they want and need. And so, again, this gives insight into what your individuals and accounts are doing across your digital touch points, all in one place. We also added the concept of account profiles to better support the B2B use case. So Liferay AC, like I previously mentioned, it can sync the account data from Salesforce so you can understand how a group of individuals that are part of the same account that you're trying to close are interacting with your content as a group. A lot of times we have customers that face the following challenges. They want to know, among the top customers that I have they engaged with the latest product campaign? Do they know about the most recent product and services we've just launched? Or how many of the low-performing customers that we have are using the services that we provide online? Do they even know about them? Or how do we match the enterprise results data that we have from our customer accounts with the interactions that they have on the digital experiences and services we provide? So with account profiles, Liferay gives you a deeper understanding of your customers and how they behave as a group. So finally, the last thing that we did for the March 2019 release was to provide you a way to get analytics on the custom things that you've built on top of Liferay DXP. I would say the majority of Liferay customers use our platform because of its flexibility. Most of you develop custom applications using your own front-end technologies and stacks with your own custom UIs. So we created a feature that lets developers add tags to their HTML so they can help AC identify what types of assets they want to track and how to track it. So for example, if you created a form using your own custom UI, you can still tag the HTML of the form, and AC will be able to then recognize this as a form and help you track metrics like submissions, abandonment, and the drop-off points in the form. Okay, so just to do a brief feature recap for our March of 2019 release, we still felt the need to be able to allow you to get more customer data in by enriching the customer profiles with an integration with Salesforce, by supporting account profiles so you can understand how your accounts, how your groups of people are interacting as a group, and for you to be able to track your custom apps that you've built on top of Liferay. So the following quarter, in June of 2019, we felt like, okay, now it's time to allow our customers to put their data into action. And so what we did was we really focused on enabling multidimensional personalization. So one great way to optimize your website is to create personalized experiences for your visitors. And a great curated experience will most likely delight your visitors and just deliver better results. So, as we mentioned before, Analytics Cloud not only collects the browsing behavior of your website visitors, it can also enrich the visitor profile using those other data sources. And then this data can help create a 360 view of your customer. And then you can create very accurate audience segments and from all the dimensions of the data that you collect, and then use that to deliver a great personalized experience. So segmentation was one of the key things that we focused on here. And I do want to sort of take a step back to the things that Jorge said earlier earlier in the morning. In 7.1, we supported personalization through Liferay audience targeting. But again, one of the key drawbacks to this was all the data that was stored was locally stored, whether it was extension point where you can collect it in a separate database schema. It was still something that you had to figure out and you had to support. And in DXP 7.2, what we wanted to do is we wanted to change this concept of this audience targeting app to a core concept of, with the CMS in 2019, personalization has to be one of the core things that it can provide. So we are moving all the tracking data for clicks, for interactions into the cloud, into the analytics cloud, so we can use that processing power that's available there to really improve the performance and scalability of everything. But we also included many improvements to personalization as well. So so that was a big shift for us in terms of what we did with audience targeting and personalization for 7.2. And this was always our plan, to have personalization a core part of the product offering. And part of the reason we introduced audience targeting as a separate app initially for 6.2 was that we wanted to deliver the value of personalization to you faster, to you quicker. And creating it as an app using the modularity, using OSGI that we had invested in, seemed like the best way to get those features to you quickly. But the plan always was to bring these features back into the core so that we could natively support some of these segmentation and personalization capabilities. So we do provide some advanced segmentation management, support for complex operators, segments within segments, that integration with Analytics Cloud where you can track the behavioral data. Those are some of the ways that we really try to enhance segmentation. And so just to give you an idea of what's provided in DXP and what's provided in Analytics Cloud and what's powered by Analytics Cloud to make it more powerful. With DXP, you can segment by profile in the DXP user table. In Analytics Cloud, you have the behavioral interactions that you can use to segment users. In DXP, you have a segment by session attributes and cookies that you can do. And in Analytics Cloud, you can enrich that with different data sources. And in DXP, the identity is only known in that one site or that one DXP installation, whereas in Analytics Cloud, we're allowing you to resolve identity across multiple DXP sites for both known and anonymous users. And I think to summarize, DXP is good for short-term personalization, whereas the enhancements provided by Analytics Cloud really drive home the value of good long-term personalization. I think the way I would think about it is if there are transactional things that you need to do, like depending on the weather, show this, depending on where they're coming from, show that, you can use the personalization in DXP. But if you really want to deepen that relationship with a customer and you really want to understand what motivates them and use that history to be able to drive even further personalization of experiences, you really need the enhancements provided by Analytics Cloud. So another feature that we rolled out in June of our 2019 release was anonymous tracking. I know as soon as I mention anonymous tracking, a lot of you are thinking GDPR. Don't worry, anonymous tracking and the way we do it is completely GDPR compliant out of the box. What we allow you to do is track anonymous visitors across multiple sessions and multiple DXP websites using a unique browser ID that's generated by DXP. As long as the visitor uses the same device and browser, we can continue to track the identity without using any personal identifiable information, no PII. So for anonymous visitors, Analytics Cloud will only track their browsing behavior data. No personal information will be tracked, unless you choose to enrich the data and try and track their name, email, and other things. So that is an option you can turn on, but by default, it won't track any personal identifiable information. And again, the anonymous users that we support can still be segmented and personalized based on their activity and browsing behavior on your sites. So these were the main features, two main features that we released in June of 2019. Okay, now that's great. We went from being able to enrich and understand our customers better with Salesforce integration, with support for account profiles and tracking the own custom things that you've built on Liferay. We enabled multi-dimensional personalization in DXP. We start putting that data into action. We allow for anonymous tracking. So where did we go from here with our September 2019 release? What we wanted to do is then, our theme was to use that data to optimize your digital experiences. So what we did to do that was to provide support for A/B testing. So I thought if you were in the session around personalization that Rafa gave earlier today, he showed you how you can create content pages with personalized experiences for different audiences. But how can you be sure that the changes that you made are for the better? Will the new page that you created and personalized really increase the number of subscriptions? Will it do it for all your segments, only for some? And are the changes that you made to your content really maybe reducing your bounce rate? These are the questions that as people invest in creating these experiences really want to know. And one easy way to be able to know that is with A/B testing. So I'm going to go ahead and show you a little video of how our A/B testing works. I know Jorge gave some screenshots for DXP 7.2. This is available on DXP 7.2 SP1. I'm going to show you a little just use case of how this all kind of comes together. So imagine we are Acme Insurance. We're an insurance company, and we've created this landing page. And the goal of this landing page is to what? Is the call to action. We want to convert prospects into customers by having them pick a personalized plan, okay? So how would you do this in Liferay DXP, and how does this relate to Liferay Analytics Cloud? Okay, to start, that panel on the right will drop. That's where you go for A/B testing, and that shows you the A/B testing panel. And the first thing you need to do is select the experience that you want to test. And right now it's just set to the default experience, and that will be the experience that we want to test. So right now you see that there are no active tests. We'll go ahead and create test, give the test a name, give it a description, and then go ahead and click on next. And once you've done that, you then need to identify who is the audience you want to test against, or the segments that you want to test against. So by default, it selects the default segment, anyone. And what I love is it shows you over the past 7 days the actual number of visitors for that segment that came to actually view that page. You can even decide to create a sub-segment and personalize, but for our purposes, let's just create that segment. Then we need to select a goal. And for us, we're testing a landing page. We're testing a call to action. So among the goals that we support, the one we want to choose is the click rate. So we'll go ahead and click on choosing the click rate because we want to test that one button, the call to action. We'll go ahead and click on save. So you'll see that our click goal right there is an element that we need to then select to be measured. And so what we'll need to do next is set our target. What button, what call to action do we actually want to test? Click on set target. You go over to the call to action button, and you select that element as your click target. And once you do that, you'll see to the right how that click goal, you've defined the target. And now you click create variant, and next to and give your variant a name, we'll call it the call to action and copy. You'll notice that there are two variants now, the control and the call to action and copy. And then if you click on edit for the call to action and copy, you can then make the changes that you actually want to test. So there are just a couple of things that we want to test on this landing page. One would be the header message, the call to action. What message do we want? Instead of a generic welcome to Acme Insurance, we've changed it to we've got you covered, it's our promise. And we also want to maybe test the color of that button. The blue tends to bleed out. Maybe if we change it to orange, it'll give it a little more pop and people can see it and click on it. So we're going to go ahead and save this variant. And once we've done that, you can create as many variants as you need, but we can go ahead and review and start the test. So the first configuration to review and run is the traffic split. You can define how much of your traffic gets sent to each variant. It gives you what the confidence level should be. So by default, we set it to what the industry standard should be, 95%. But let's say you're not getting enough traffic and it'll take too many days to get there. Maybe you'll lower that threshold so that you can get an estimated test duration that's faster. But all these things are configurable. And when you're ready, you go ahead and click on Run Test. And now the test is running. And all this test is running on the DXP side. And what I'm going to show you now is how you can go to Analytics Cloud from here to actually see your results. So you click on that configuration, you go to View Data in Analytics, and that will take you to Analytics Cloud. And here's the test running on Analytics Cloud. And let's just say that the test is running, and we fast forward to maybe 7 days, and we'll see that 33% of the test is complete after 7 days. Here are the different variants, and let's say 7 days even forward, after 14 days, a winner has been declared. It's determined that CTA and copy outperformed the control by at least 12%. Okay, so what you're able to see here is that the test completed, the number of days that it ran, the total number of test sessions, and the actual test metric that was tested, okay? And underneath that, what you have there is the conversion report. Like for each option, control, and the variant, you'll see how well it performed in terms of conversions, and you'll see that the variant performed much better. It had a 12% lift over the control, and so you can actually see the test sessions to see how the data was split between the control and the variant. And it provides you a lot of this useful information. And finally, back up on top, what you can do here is you can then publish either the winner or any of the other variants. So there may be a situation where, for whatever reason, things are close, or maybe for some reason you don't want to publish the winner. Sometimes you do. But most of the times, I think you would go ahead and publish the winner. You can click on that. And what this will do is, you're on AC, it will actually change the experience in DXP through that integration so that DXP will now show the winning experience. So that's a summary of A/B testing and what we provide there. Another thing that we released in September of 2019 is site-wide reports. So up until September, the only thing that you could see as far as assets and pages were the individual performance of those pages and assets. We didn't really provide a site-wide report to give you a more comprehensive view of what was going on, but because customers requested this feature, this was one way that we were responsive to the request of customers. So at a quick glance, you can understand the performance of your site as a whole and still drill down into the additional details of the pages and asset reports. So the new dashboard here, it helps you understand your visitors, how many unique visitors are visiting your sites over time. It gives you an idea of the best and worst performing pages that you have so that you can curate them better. It gives you an idea of the traffic source. What channels are your audience coming from? And again, for the landing page scenario, and if you're using any advertising spend to drive traffic to your site, this will give you great idea of where you need to make your investments. And finally, it gives you interest and search patterns of visitors, so you can understand what interests them, what they're searching for, and it tells you how sticky your site is. What is the rate at which your visitors are actually returning to your site? The last thing that we did for our September of 2019 release was smart content recommendations. It's leveraging the visitor behavior information in Liferay Analytics Cloud and the content metadata in Liferay DXP. And content can now be recommended based on AI-driven interest models. So content creators and site administrators, what they can do is they can enable content recommendations in content sets to automatically personalize the results that a user is shown. Because even though the segment-based personalization, the A/B testing that I showed you is really powerful, you still need to understand what are the things that instead of the message that I want to provide and sort of tell to my customers, what are they interested in and how can I show them more of that? And smart content recommendations allows you to do that. So to summarize, in September of 2019, we enabled A/B testing for DXP. We provided site-wide reports, and we provided smart content recommendations. So hopefully you're seeing a pattern here with our quarterly releases, how we're really focused, hyper-focused on providing customer value and really asking, what are we trying to provide? How will our customers benefit from the things that we're building? December of 2019, through customer request, we want to be able to provide a data export API, so you can export the data in Analytics Cloud into your data lake, into your data warehouse, so that you can use that for analytics for the initiatives you already have. We want to improve GDPR support. We fully support GDPR right now, but we want to make it more self-service so that you can be able to service yourself in terms of providing better GDPR support for your customers. And finally, we're going to improve the onboarding experience. And we have a plan mapped out probably for the next year, March 2020. We want to provide support for the custom events and goals, improve smart recommendations. In June, we want to provide smart segmentation where it's not you having to define the rules of how you want to segment your users, but it helps identifying new segments that you may not be aware of. We want to provide multivariate testing, closed-ended experimentation. And long-term, we want to really be able to automate these experiences so it takes less intervention by your business users. We want to focus on customer journey-based optimization, where you can create a customer journey, think about those front-end experiences and really map them to your back-end support systems, the digital operations that you need. So in a nutshell, that's at a feature level the way we're going, but I do want to maybe give you a bigger perspective of where we're going with Analytics Cloud. And I'll start again with the question we asked at the very beginning. What is Analytics Cloud? And I think I would argue that when we launched last September of 2018, Analytics Cloud is as soon as you say analytics, people think, wow, like what's that actually mean? I would probably better define it as a customer experience measurement system. In 2018, we allowed you to understand your customer profiles, page analytics, path and traffic analytics, asset analytics, really understand people and how they're interacting with your content. But in November of 2019, I would argue that Analytics Cloud is now a customer experience optimization system. We've allowed you to put that data into action with multidimensional personalization, with A/B testing, with smart recommendations. Now we're helping you optimize the experiences at scale. So where do we go from here? I think what we want Liferay Analytics Cloud to be is that intelligence layer for DXP, where it's an intelligent system for better customer experiences, where we can help you automate those experiences, allow you to do continuous experimentation, support customer journeys, and also connect the digital ops story that you heard about earlier with Jorge, with being able to tie the front-end customer experiences to the back-end digital operations that you need to do to better support those customer outcomes. Most of the best practices around digital transformation really emphasize the importance of building experiences quickly, getting those initiatives out in front of customers quickly, learning from real customer interactions, and quickly evolving those initiatives based on their feedback. And that's exactly what we want Analytics Cloud to do for you. These are the two product managers that are on my team that are part of Analytics Cloud, Charles Pignon and Jonathan Lee. Unfortunately, they couldn't be here to share this vision of Analytics Cloud with you. But if you have any questions, if you have any feedback, feel free to reach out to them. Their emails are attached there to the slides. And if you want to learn more about Analytics Cloud and how we're evolving it and how it could potentially help you provide better business outcomes and track and measure those and optimize them, I'd say go to that website. But if you're interested in really utilizing it, reach out to us. Request a demo. We would love to show you how Liferay Analytics Cloud works, the benefits you can provide, and would love to have a discussion with you about the customer outcomes, the experiences that you really need to optimize. Thank you very much.